Welcome back to the channel. I hope you enjoyed this video today. This is going to be all about the troop calculator for attacking epics and other monsters on the map. I hope you enjoy it. So let me show you the troop calculator. This is it here. It will be available on the Discord server only. So any members that want to be able to use this troop calculator are going to have to join the Discord server. I will leave full details on that, how to be able to actually get it. But I want to give a massive shout out to the guy who put this together, JediTuco. He is a genius. And when I say that this calculator calculates perfectly, I mean that sincerely. It's super that he has allowed me and my channel members to be able to use this calculator. And to him, hats off. Thanks, buddy. Really appreciate you. So let's get down to business and show you how it works. You will see at the bottom of the screen there are instructions as to what to do. There's a summary, and then there's the actual page for the epics. What you need to do first off is down at the very bottom here, you need to fill in some values that are important to this working properly and perfectly for you, okay? All of the columns on the right hand side here, you don't need to worry about. These are all values that are not having to be input. The input point is this box here, okay? So from row 152 down to rows 166, depending on what you're doing, whether you're attacking Fenrir squads, normal epic squads, or you're doing something in raids. So how you fill that out is fairly straightforward, and I'm going to go through it with you now. The first thing you need to do is you need to go into your city and you need to make a few adjustments. So follow me back to the city and I'll show you what exactly I mean by that. So first off, immediately you have to basically take all of the gear off your hero, because we don't want your hero's gear to affect in any way, shape or form the strength and health and other things that you have on your hero at the time. So once your hero is naked, you then remove any other captains that you don't want to use. So in this case, I'm going to take all the captains out of the window. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to put in Hercules, okay? So Hercules you can leave with the gear on and with the artifacts on. That's fine. If it was a case that you wanted to use Cleo, then obviously you do the same. You put Cleo in, you put the best gear you want on her, be it epic gear or just normal army gear, any artifact that you want on her, and that's the way you want it to go. If for any reason you were going to do an attack on the Arachne epic squad, which to be honest is a waste of time, but that's for another video that I've made, you could include obviously another 3 captains, all with the gear that you want on them at the time, and you will go from there. But just for the principle of this video, I'm going to just use one captain, and that'll be Hercules. So once we've done that, we go back out and to our main army window. So what we want to do now is we need to click on our army and get all the stats that we want from those units, okay? This is an important stage, and this is what you're going to fill in the box here on the other window. So this box here, we have melee specialists, mounted specialists, range specialists, vultures, royal line and Jaego if you have them, and vice versa. You also have then your guardsmen, melee, mounted, ranged, battle griffin or war eagle, and Corax if you have them. So these values, strength and health bonuses, all have to be put in. Now what I would suggest that you do first is that you go back to your city, and when you're going to attack, obviously, epic squads, you may as well turn on all your other bonuses, okay? So you can switch on your experience points bonus, your valor points bonus, your army strength. Health is unimportant in the case of epics because 99.9% of the time, unless you're G9, S9, M9, E9, and the epic is down to a very small value, the health will not matter because your army is going to die every time. The important value is the strength value that you do need to leave on. So in this case, I'm not going to turn them on just to show you the way the stats all stack up. So we have to go back to the window. Actually, let me just change that back so as I can see it as well as you guys. You will need a pen at hand. We won't have to have a pen at hand because you're going to take the values from each individual troop as regards their health in this section here under the bonuses. You want the health number and you want the strength number, okay? So the first troop unit we're going to look at is the melee specialist, or melee, depending on how you pronounce that. So let's pull that up again and we will just have a look and see. I'm going to click on the specialists and I'm going to click on the melee. Now, depending on what level specialist you have, it's all the same. You need to go to your melee troop each time. So be it level 7, level 6, level 8, level 9. That's the troop you want to select first, or all the way down, obviously, to your level 3, level 4, level 5 melees. So what we do is we go into the troop we want to look at, and we're going to go and input both the health value and the strength value exactly as they're written in these boxes into the calculator section. So I have a health value of plus 1096.5%. I then go back to my troop calculator. So the health bonus we want to put in there, as it says under our melee unit specialists. For me, it's plus 1096.5%. So I am going to click on this box and I'm going to click 1096.5, and that is it input. Now you'll see that some of the other boxes will autofill. We can change that as we go down the list because they may differ slightly. So the next thing we want then is we want the melee specialist strength bonus. In my case, it's plus 1367%. Just so as you can see where I am looking at that, I'll switch back to the window. So you can see here, this is my health value. This is my strength value. These are where we're taking these values from. We're not taking them from anywhere else. Not this value at the top of the screen. It's this value here is the important one. It's just the bonus that it is getting, in other words. So we want to input that into the calculator and get it all set up. So we go back here now, and in the strength bonus, I'm now going to put that value of plus 1367. So just 1367, it's a plus value, so that's fine. And we select again. So basically that's what we're going to do with each of these values. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do it, and then I can show you the filled in boxes. So bear with me. In fact, for the purposes of the video, I think it is easier to show you exactly what I'm doing as I go. So I'm just going to change back between screens, and I have it set up a little bit better now so I can see what I'm doing. So we're now on to the mounted specialist section. Okay, we want the strength bonus and the health bonus. Now my strength bonus, if I switch back to the other screen, you can see the strength bonus for the specialists, mounted specialist unit is 1370. So we're going to go back here and we're going to go to the strength bonus, and I'm going to put in 1370, tab to get to the next window, and then I want the health bonus. And the health bonus on that, I'm not going to switch between them, is 1093.5. 1093.5. So you can see that there was a slight difference between the melee specialist health bonus and the mounted unit health bonus. You're not going to have to put this in every time. This is just a once off. What you're going to be changing after that is only your leadership value. So we now need to get our range specialist up. So again, I'll flick back to the window. We want to go back, and I'm now looking for my ranged units. Click on them, scroll down again, and we can see the value. The health value is 1096.5%, which matches the melee value, so that's good. And the strength value is 1367, so that's the same, so that's fine. We can go ahead and put in 1367 and the health bonus can remain as it is because it matches the melee units. Now we're going to go on to vultures, even though I'm not going to use vultures in this case because I have royal lions, but we still need to fill it in. So if I scroll up to the vultures, let me switch window again, sorry. So as I said, we were on here and I was on the ranged units. I'm going to be using royal lions because I have them, but I still need to put in the value for the vultures as well in case I wanted to include them in a stack. So again, we press the information tab, we scroll down here, we can see the health value here. It's slightly different than the other ones, but they're all important to put in correctly, and the strength value. So we go back to the other window and you will see me put these in. So the strength value for my vultures is 1367%. Tab to go to the next box, and we want to put in our health value here, and the health value for the vultures is 1108.5. Okay, so now we're on to then the royal lions. Again, this won't be applicable to you if you don't have them. Don't worry about it. You only need to fill these boxes in which are specific to you. So if it's a case you didn't have any mounted specialists or any range specialists, you can leave the values in there as 0% because you're not going to be selecting those troops when it comes to it. So the royal lion, I'll just quickly go in and do this from my values here. So the strength of my royal lions is better again. So we're 1467 and tab to the next section, and we're going to go with the health value, which is 1208.5. Okay, so they're all our specialists now, strength and health bonuses input. The next thing we need to do is do the same thing on guardsmen. So we're going to switch to the guardsmen window. Again, I'm changing nothing in here. My hero is the same, it has no gear on, and I have just my one captain that I'm going to use in this particular set of attacks. So I want to go to my melee ones first. I'm going to click information, go down here, and these values again, the health value, the strength value, and we're going to put all of these in and fill the boxes as we go along the same way, exact same way as I did for the specialists. So bear with me and I'll do that now. Okay, so I have all values filled in there. As you can see, the strength bonus for all the different troop types in my specialist bracket and the same in my guardsman bracket. Now you can see here that Jaegos and War Eagles were included in this because their values are the same as the Battle Griffin and the Royal Lion. The next thing then that you need to do is you're going to be doing your attacks. In this case, you're looking against epic squads. So if you then go back in and have a look at the any troop, okay, so be it a mounted unit or a flying unit or a melee unit, there is one value in here that you now need to put in, and you'll see it here. It's the strength of your entire army against epic monsters. So this value here, in my case, it's plus 1430%. I'm going to have to put that into the box here in the epics section. So the health bonus is not important. This is the actual strength bonus that you're looking for. So in my case, as I said, it was plus 1430%. So 1430, and that is that selected. Now, if it was a case you were doing raids and you were using a Manitor, that would be where you would put the bonus in there, because that would be slightly different when you have a Manitor selected versus having Hercules or Cleo selected. If it was a case that you were doing this during Ragnarok, the bonus against Fenrir, in other words, the bonus that you get in the shop that gives you, be it a 360% bonus or whatever exactly the value is, I can't remember, and I think it's different for different players depending on your level. Again, you would want to put that into this box here, okay? So that is the key part that needs doing, okay? If it happens, in my case, it isn't going to happen because I'm at the top level. My full research has been done. If you improve your research in your academy and you improve anything to do with either your melee strength or health, mounted units, ranged units, vultures, etc., you will need to check these values and alter them as needs be. So that is one important fact to remember, okay? After that, it's fairly straightforward. What we do now is we scroll up the list and we select what troops we want to have. Now you can see from this calculator that it's already input all the strength bonuses and health bonuses as we have input them at the bottom of the page. So that's all the values put in for our normal troops. Now, as regards our monsters, this is where it slightly differs. If we scroll up here to the list of monsters that are in the game, you can see that this has auto-populated, okay? The figures in here I have found are pretty close to what the actual figures are, but they aren't making a vast amount of difference. In the case of maybe some of the lower level players, you may find that you don't have enough dragon coins, etc. You may not want to send monsters at all. That's okay. These values that are in here will be fine for you sending monsters, and it will still let them hit many times within the full stacks of troops that you've created. So don't worry about the monster values. If you really wanted to and you were a higher level player, you can change these values. The strength values will probably all be perfect, but the health values may differ slightly by maybe 100% or more. You can independently change the figures in here. For example, my Devastators, just to click in, my strength bonus on them is plus 1470%. So you can see this value has given them a lower strength bonus than they have. But the health value for them is 1193.5%. So you can see that the values are very, very close, the estimated values, and it really doesn't make a difference in the stack itself. The only other thing that is not included in this are your mercenaries. The mercenaries you do have to put in yourself, okay? You can't put it in down at the bottom. There isn't a place to put it in, but again, the vast majority of people will just put a sprinkling of mercenaries in there rather than wasting them. So if you put a small value in, like 100 here or 100 there or 50 or whatever the case may be, it will let them hit again and again and again when you're sending good stacks of troops. But the troops are the important part to be able to get right. You can then adjust your mercenaries as the case may be. Some like to send more and they all die in the first hits, but some like to make their mercenaries last for longer. So what we then do is we go up and we decide which troops we want. Now, in my case, I am going to be using, well, let's just say I'll go with the lowest guardsman just to see, so as you can see what way it's going to work. So if we select swordsmen 1, spearmen 1, riders 1, archers 1, you can see here that automatically the numbers have been input, okay? Now, the total leadership and dominance and authority are not important. The important one only is the leadership. So once you've selected which troops you want, okay, so let's just say we're going to send 3 stacks, okay? Swordsmen, spearmen, riders, and archers. Swordsmen being the specialist, spearmen, riders, and archers being guardsmen. Okay, so I'm going to send 3 stacks in this case. These have all populated with numbers, but we want to be sure that the leadership value that we have matches the leadership value of the hero or captain that we're sending. So in this case, that's given me a leadership value of 2,916. I'm just going to select a normal monster on the map. Okay. Now, again, the hero is still naked, no clothes on. It doesn't matter. You can change that because the values have been input now. But we're obviously going to use this captain. So I'm not going to do the attack because I don't want to waste his gear. But if I now select on this and click, actually no, I'm going to have to use one with a dragon. So we want to include our dragon. Let's look for something a bit bigger. There's a common undead squad. So if I click attack on this and I select my dragon, you can see here, this is your leadership value, 192,000. That's the value that we need to remember. The only figure that you need to change on this is the quantity of your highest troop. So in this case, your archers. So it currently has a value here of 20. So in other words, 20 units. The value of the leadership is what we're going to base this on. So the leadership for my captain in this battle is 192,000. You can see there the leadership value there. Okay, this is the value that we want. This is the important value. This is with the dragon selected. If you don't select the dragon, you can see that the leadership value goes down. So if you don't have a strong dragon and it isn't giving you some major bonuses, then obviously you can't use the dragon. That will be your leadership value. But with the dragon, that jumps up quite considerably, depending again on the level of your dragon. But that's what we want. We also want to make sure that the artifact that we're going to use for the attack is equipped. And we want to make sure that we have all of the armor that we want to use in the attack also equipped. Once we've done that, we can then go back to the screen again. Again, we're going to use this leadership value as our important figure to remember. So write that value down somewhere, because that's what we're going to do when we go back to the calculator sheet. So you can see here from the troops that have automatically populated, the leadership value that is giving me is 2,915. Now, this is where there's a little bit of guesswork involved. You have to do a little bit of typing. The important value is the last troop, so the highest troop, which will be in your selection. So this being the lowest one, level 1 specialist swordsman, this being the highest and strongest and healthiest troop in your, the strongest troop in your stack, the archers on level 3, guardsmen ranged. So if I change this value, okay, let's say I'm going to change it to 500, you will see all of the numbers above increase as well. Once I press tab or move to another value, you can see that all of these numbers have gone up and increased. Now, if I go down to my leadership box, it's now showing me that I've got a leadership used of 14,421. Now, in the case of my captain, you can see that the leadership value I have available to him is 192,000, including my dragon. So I want to be able to get the leadership value here closer to 192,000. Then I know I can bring that amount of troops maximum into this battle. So I'm going to make a couple of just checks here and see if I can get this to max out or near enough to be where the 192,000 leadership value that I have available to me using this captain, if I can get that up to that point. So bear with me, I'm just going to make a couple of adjustments here. So I've just taken it up to 8,000 of the archers, and I've come down and I can see now that I'm up to 195,000. So I'm still a little bit too big. I need to reduce that just a fraction. So let's try 7,800. And let's scroll down and see. Okay, so now we're under my leadership value. Now this is the leadership value only. It's nothing to do with mercenaries and it's nothing to do with monsters. This is literally for your silver troops, i.e. the troops that you build with silver. So we can increase it even slightly fractionally again. Let's bring it to, let's try 7900. And let me see where that brings me. That's 192. So that's just over. So I can go with 7,850. And that now gives me a leadership value of 191,440. So I'm very close. I could change it maybe by another 10 or 20 to get the leadership value again as close to the 192,000 that my captain allows. So I now know that if I'm taking swordsmen, spearmen, riders, archers, level 1s, level 2s, and level 3s, these numbers are the most troops I can take into battle using this captain with the dragon and the artifact and obviously the gear that he's wearing as well. So that is how you use this calculator to give you your maximum amount of troops. If you don't have that amount of troops built, that's no problem. Obviously, I've just selected a low amount, a low level guardsmen and specialists to go and show you this actual category. If I change my mind and I wanted to go with a different selection, so let's just say I had level 4 swordsmen, spearmen, archers, and I had some better specialists. So in this case, I can go with a level of guardsmen, a level of specialists, and maybe another level of guardsmen, okay? Or sorry, another level of specialists. No, let's say another level of guardsmen. So let's say I have level 5 guardsmen and I have level 5 specialists. I'm going to also put in my level 4 guardsmen too, okay? So as you can see, these numbers have now populated again. And I need to go have a look again. My leadership value has gone right down, but again, this pertains to your top troop. So if I change this number of 2 for Battle Griffin to 20, for example, again, all of the numbers above change in relation to the amount of Battle Griffins I'm taking, as does my leadership value. So again, to try and find my leadership value, if I'm running with 192,000, let's say we go with, 7,000 on the last one. Let's go with 5,000 of the Battle Griffins. That will again change all the numbers above, and that's got my leadership value. Well, it's way over what it should be. Actually, of course it would be. Okay, so with a little bit of tinkering, I've found out that 590 Battle Griffins with the conglomeration of the extra troops that are coming as well, that now gives me a value of 191,698. And that keeps me under the value that I am allowed to take in leadership, i.e. 192,000. So as you can see, there is a little bit of I wouldn't call it guesswork, but once you keep these figures and remember this figure, as your hero and or captains level up, you will know that you'll be able to increase this figure depending on the troops you take. So once you have the initial base of where you're starting on this calculator, it will give you a precise example of all the rest of the troops to take, given the fact that your highest and strongest troop, in this case Battle Griffin, in the previous case archers, the one at the bottom of the list is the one that will bring your value into where you want it. Okay, so that is how you select your troops on this. You simply tick the boxes on the left hand side as you want them. Let's just say, for example, in this case you have swordsmen. Let's say you don't have Battle Griffins yet, okay? Then this value will be 0, okay? And the next highest troop will be the value that you're going to increase. So if we change that, which is now, this is now your strongest troop in this stack, Okay, so let's change this to 100. And as soon as you do that, you will see again all of the numbers above change and increase accordingly. Okay, and it's all down to these values that, oh sorry, it wasn't even on the page. So what I just did there, just to show you again, so I had Battle Griffin selected, so we put in 20 Battle Griffins there. Okay, I had changed that value. So let's just say you didn't have Battle Griffin. Okay, so we can take them out. We're going to change that value to 0. Now your next strongest troop here are archers 5. So if you increase the archers 5 value now, let's say 200, okay, you can see all the numbers above increase accordingly. Okay, so the strongest troop is always the one at the bottom of the list that you have chosen, right throughout this, all the way down to Corax 1. If I had Corax 1 and I selected that, that is the value I would change, and you will see the leadership value a little bit closer at the bottom. So that is how you select troops. That should be straightforward enough. I know it seems very convoluted and awkward, but just keep in mind that the most important factor about this sheet is that you get your strength bonus and health bonuses right for your specialists and guardsmen, plus any bonuses you have against epic squads, against Fenrir squads, or in raids, and the raids pertain solely to a Minotaur. So you now ask, what do I do about my monsters? Okay, the monsters don't have to be, all you have to do with the monsters is select. I'm going to deselect all of the troops here that I don't want to use, and I'm going to show you a value that I will use for mine. So we're going to select Corax. So these basically are G9, G8, S9, and S8. Okay, and these are the values that I'm going to put in. Now, if I now put in Corax, I know I can roughly take, I think it's about 500. If I put 500 in there, okay, so that's more than I can take. So let me just change this a little bit, bring it back. I'm on 192. Let's go to 400. I know it's more than 400. So from my value of that captain at a value of 192,000 leadership, I know that I can take into battle roughly 380 Corax. The reason I'm going with an even number, it doesn't have to be even, but I will try and do even numbers, because let's say I brought 380 Corax only into battle. I will lose 10% of them in battle, which means I lose 38. If I took 381 into battle, I will lose 39, even though it is only one extra one in the troop. So that's where the zeros come in. So that's my leadership value. I have no monsters selected, but in this case, I'm going to bring all my my first 2 stacks of monsters. So I'm going to go with M8s. We're going to select them, and M9s. Okay. What I need to do here now is I'm looking at my dominance value on my battle window. So the dominance is the third category down here. The initial one is leadership, then it's authority for mercenaries, and the last one is dominance for monsters. That's for your own monsters. Okay, so I have a value here of 48,000. So I want to go back here, and I'm going to put in again my top troop. I'm going to put in a value here of 30, and the list above won't populate this time. So what you need to do individually on the monsters is you need to put them in yourself. Okay, these values have to be input yourself. But once you have decided how many dragon coins you have available, what your dominance value is, you can go and put these values in on their own. Normally what I do with these is I will just put in a small amount of them. So I'll go with maybe 20 of each. And the next ones then I will usually double. So I'll go with 40 of each here. So you can see there with 40 of my M8s and 20 of my M9s, M8, Monster 8, M9, Monster 9, basically that's the highest level. That's now given me a total dominance value of 10,680. It has made no difference at all to this value up here. It hasn't upset the apple cart on my silver troops, but I know that I can bring that amount of monsters. I could bring more if I wanted to, but again, that's down to how many dragon coins or how many monsters I want to have to revive after the battle. So that is the way the monsters are input. They're a manual input. If you wanted to, you can max out this to your total dominance. In my case, it's 48,000. So we would be pretty much tripling what I'm bringing. Okay, so I'd probably be down to 40 of these. Sorry, 60 of these and 120 of these. That would get me closer to the 48,000 that I have available in the dominance bracket. So after that, it's just down to mercenaries. You can choose yourself. Not everybody has a constant supply of mercenaries. So really the mercenary values again are something you want to try and keep low, but your total authority value, as you can see here on the sheet, is the one that you're going to be most interested in. And if you look at your authority, you can see that the value you may have there, in my case, it's 96,000. Yours might be 10,000 or less or more. So we have, if I select any of these, they will automatically input and I can see how many I want. So that now has given me authority value by taking these amount of mercenaries. Okay, so on the monsters, or on the mercenaries, let's just say, for example, I have some War Eagles. I'm going to click War Eagle. So the value here that it shows me of 103 War Eagles, that is how many War Eagles I can take in my army to get repeated hits along with any of the troops that I have selected up here. So those War Eagles will get repeated hits and not die first, okay? And that's important. So let's say I had some Slavic warriors as well. I can bring 2,163 of those, and they are all giving me, spewing out all the information here as regards to total strength, additional damage features. It's giving all the data that you need. You don't need this data, okay? The important thing is that you can just input these values here, and that's where you want to actually place them. So when you select any of these mercenaries, you will see that the values change in here. You can see that some of these boxes here have no values in them. You can physically put them in. So let's say my superior epic monster hunter 2s were 1, 4, 6, 7 strength and 1,093 health. You can put those values in there, and when you select them, it will understand how many of them you need by the values that you have put in here for their strength and health bonus. So I hope that has made sense. I'm sure I will get 1,000,001 questions, but this, without a shadow of a doubt, I have used it now for several weeks. And whilst it may seem very laborious to put all of the values in, to select the different troops, once you have done it and you have run a few attacks, and as you level up and you increase your total leadership, the only value that you will ever need to change in your troop stacks is your top troop, okay? I've showed you that on the first 3 I selected for level 1, level 2, level 3. The archers were the ones that I needed to get the correct value for to finally and eventually match my leadership value. I hope that's made sense. If it hasn't, don't be afraid to leave any questions, comments in the video below. Just to reiterate, this section is the important section. This troop calculator will only be made available to Discord members, channel members from YouTube, and memberships from Ko-fi. They are the only people who are going to get this. If I see anybody sharing this outside of that realm, I will not be happy, and you may find yourself kicked from Discord and not seeing any future videos. I don't want to be mean, but I want to be fair to everybody who is paying and is supporting the channel. This is what this is for, guys. This is what's important. So yeah, look, that is the end of this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe, and I will catch you on the next one. Have a great day. Happy middle of the week hump day. Cheers, guys. Curf. Peace out.